Welcome to day 2 of managing groups and teams with Team Cinco de Oro. My name is Emily Wagner, a consultant with FEMA, Facilitated Education for Management Advancement. The team is walking into the hurricane exercise with a high degree of anxiety due to previous exposure to personality differences. Let's see how the storm unfolds.
We really need that radio to get the fuck out.
Are we swapping?
Or there are
Stu
and
and radio?
Yeah,
What?
by 10 days they are dead. That's
I
why.
cannot agree with that. I cannot agree
Hold
with
on,
that.
hold on.
Let's take a vote.
Let's take a
We were all anxious and on edge going into the hurricane exercise. Quickly, we found that the norms we had set earlier in the day were being breached. We were interrupting each other, constantly talking over each other, and digging in our heels instead of compromising. We felt that the extroverts were talking louder than ever and the introverts were clamming up.
It's clear individual personality differences led to a lack of early trust, leading to the eroded dynamics of this team. This lack of trust led to interruptions, shouting, and the tendency for extroverts to dominate conversations and introverts to feel uncomfortable contributing. This team needs to work on improving their collective intelligence factor by improving the social sensitivity of all members and striving for equal contributions.
We were a third of the way through our time and we had made little progress. We were still bogged down trying to figure out our top 5 items. No one was driving the discussion and we all felt like we weren't heard. We had essentially gotten nowhere. Finally, Emily had to switch gears to focus on the least useful items and rank things instead from the bottom up instead of the top down.
The lack of a defined hierarchy and neglecting to appoint a facilitator led to little decisiveness. In the right context, hierarchies can improve a team's ability to coordinate complex actions, improve efficiency, and reduce role ambiguity and interruptions they clearly suffered from. Fortunately, Emily suggested changing tactics, putting the team back on track. This wouldn't be necessary had a hierarchy been established.
One thing we did well during hurricane was listening to the expert in the group, someone who has spent time in the military in extreme survival training situations. When Sean spoke, everyone listened.
I think it's interesting that Sean also put Mouth and Bucket first, and he is our survival expert.
For me, it's number 2. It would be the club soda.
Right.
So to me, it's like both are really important. I chose the mop and plastic bucket for number 1.
This team did exhibit the ability to display cognitive trust. Sean was correctly identified as the topical expert, and the team gave him full attention when he expressed an opinion. The team having confidence in Sean's reliability improved the team's overall performance.
They thought the hurricane was over, but it was just the eye of the storm.
Let's talk about Lego Men. What a day. It started out okay. Who doesn't like playing with Legos? The team was bouncing ideas back and forth and developed several different approaches to the problem. Ideas were free-flowing and vigorously defended.
See, that's where heterogeneity comes into place. The team members of Cinco de Oro come from different backgrounds, they have different talents, and they all have different personal characteristics. So they have so many great ideas. However, because of this, it's hard for them to reach a consensus.
With 2 pretty staunch opinions, the group stagnated in the early planning stages. We weren't able to transition to the next phase of building out a coherent strategy. Running out of time and with no ability to decide, we decided to split into 2 factions.
One outcome of Cinco de Oro's discussion and heterogeneity was that they accidentally used the dialectic model. They had come up with 2 different proposals, had advocates of each, and decided to form 2 sub-teams to cross-check and complement each other.
If only we had correctly defined the structure, everything would have been so much better. In our hurry to get mapping and building, we'd forgotten to plan 2 crucial things: how to execute the build and how to bring these 2 dispersed models together. With about 5 minutes left, the teams hurriedly came together and compared the 2 maps. There were huge issues when we started the build.
Unfortunately, Cinco de Oro didn't have an identified leader and clear group structure or hierarchy. Both timeline and specialization were required in Legoman's case, but Cinco de Oro failed to nominate a timekeeper or a facilitator. Phase transitions, like those between the planning and execution phases, were difficult and everything began to fall apart.
The build was chaos. Everyone was running everywhere, we got nothing done, and we ended up with that dreaded DNF. We hung our heads in shame as the verdict came in. Unfortunately, our poor performance and the proctor's excellent but inadvertently triggering feedback brought to the surface a lot of tensions that had been simmering. Unbeknownst to anyone, our team was about to be hit by another hurricane. Unfortunately, it happened in front of the entire cohort, as accusations were made and our entire team dynamic was put in the spotlight. Actually, I don't even really know how to talk about this.
Unfortunately, Cinco de Oro's social contract and group norms of trust were breached. This left many team members extremely uncomfortable and was the foundation of what came next.
After class, the team relied on the support of the faculty and AASL to facilitate a more structured discussion about team dynamics and next steps.
The following morning, we received word that a solution had been reached and one of our team members would be moved to another group. This meant that we effectively began the telegram exercise as a new team. Interestingly, the exercise came with a predefined role, with Emily and Tia being selected as managers. We couldn't ask for a better choice. Not only did they excel in their roles, but they took it one step further by picking both a facilitator and dividing the team into 2 subgroups.
The hurricane turned out to be winds of change. In the tanagram exercise, there was a clear distribution of authority. In creating self-managing work groups, the managers held responsibility in the design of the overall group. However, each sub-team was able to manage their own processes around internalizing the information and preparing for the tasks in a way that would work best for them. Having a hierarchy led to clear roles and responsibilities in action orientation and stronger coordination and time management.
The conduct of the exercise went really smoothly, mainly due to the good collaboration and communication between all members of the team. Furthermore, where Austin and I were struggling to complete our blueprint, Nishi and Ripley went above and beyond their assigned roles and stepped in to help.
By displaying interpersonal care and concern and going beyond the scopes of their roles for the good of the team, Cinco de Oro began showing citizenship behaviors. This put the team on a path to building more effective trust.
Before this, our team hadn't tasted victory in any group exercise, and coupled with visible tensions within the group, we all felt really self-conscious that the cohort viewed us as a dysfunctional group. It was as if we were all wearing collars. But this exercise was entirely different. It felt amazing to finally be in a team that communicated effectively, which is why we scored a win. And for the very first time, we were able to share positive reflections about our experience in class.
Often when teams have a challenging initial design and then multiple step-backs like the team did in Hurricane and Lego Man, this can lead to a negative self-healing spiral. This can be particularly potent when these occur early in a team's life, as it did with Cinco de Oro. When a team perceives or self-labels as a bad or dysfunctional team, this can contribute to members accepting the validity of that label and no longer performing to the best of their abilities. In this case, an effective intervention occurred where there was a structural change made in the group composition. In addition, the team was supported in having a successful experience, which helped the team reverse the direction of the spiral and alter how the group was being perceived. Finally, the calm after the storm.
FEMA Consulting has identified 3 key areas for Cinco de Oro to continue to improve the way it works together. The first is continue to build trust. Early trust was not established in the first 2 weeks, and due to a changed group configuration, trust will continue to be needed. Trust is best built through time, but exhibiting citizenship behavior is also helpful. Additionally, the group should update its group norms document after having more time to work together. Trust is also difficult to measure through data, but Cinco de Oro can monitor how the group atmosphere changes from anxious to more open over time. Our second recommendation is communication. Talking over or cutting off teammates, in addition to unequal airtime, was an issue early on. The team has already started advocating for group members and self-monitoring behavior. FEMA also suggests having a facilitator during group discussions to encourage equitable airtime, which would also be a measurable outcome for the group. Finally, we suggest assigning roles and responsibilities. Going forward, Cinco de Oro should stick to its group norms in choosing a hierarchy and assigning roles at the start of each project, taking into account the task at hand. A measurable outcome would be what % of group projects was there a clear division of labor. These are the suggestions from FEMA.